Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Today is the last day in September. It's going to be my last stream in September. We have October to look forward to, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about where Bitcoin is in this cycle and why a major uptrend is incoming. That's right. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. So looking at Bitcoin, we're a little bit lower than yesterday. And that's because this morning we got hit with something unexpected. But I do think we are going to recover, especially in October, right? And I think many great things are coming in October and in November and in December. Okay. But what were we hit with this morning? Well, I think the biggest thing was this. Japan went down 5% because they kicked out their prime minister, whatever their major party is, kicked out their prime minister. They brought in someone else, and then that prime minister announced that they're going to do a snap election, and that kind of just just screwed up everything, right? And then we caught the tailwinds of that. Europe started going down, US started going down, but I did notice that right now, because they are, 13 hours ahead of us, they are in the green right now. They're starting out, so they were kind of recovering from what has happened yesterday. So hopefully, again, we catch the tailwinds of that. Meaning that Europe will probably turn green and then the US turn green, and then we just recover from what has happened yesterday, right? But that's what I said this morning. I think that's what happened. It was bloody this morning for the Nikkei. It was like minus 5% because of it. There was one other thing that happened today, though, that affected the US, and that was Powell speaking. A lot of people wanted to know what Powell thought. And he indicated that there will, of course, be further rates, but he wants to let people know that there's no preset course. Of course, he can't be too dovish. And I said that this morning. He can't just say, oh, yeah, I'm just going to cut 50 basis points every single time. No, he has to be like somewhat like neutral. So he's like, oh, we're not set on any preset course, but we're just going to see how things are. And he noted that inflation was good and economy wasn't bad, right? So that's all good. But, some of the other Fed presidents are saying, well, no, we're still open to 50 basis points cut. So, that's exactly how it still looks like. If you look at the CME prediction for the next FOMC meeting, still 38% for 50 basis point cut, 61% for 25 basis points. So still looking pretty good. We still have more than a month before that happens. So let's see what the economic numbers do with the percentages. But last month, it also seemed like we were not going to get a 50 basis point, and all of a sudden it turned to 50 basis points. So it may be the case once again. But like I've been saying, the liquidity injection is going to happen. It's starting already in the US. It started in China. It's going to start everywhere. It's going to start in Japan too. The reason why they have this new prime minister is because basically the party felt like the previous prime minister has done a horrible job with the economy. They want to be more, they want to inject more economic stimulus, basically, right? So the liquidity injection is coming everywhere, and that is going to be fantastic all around. That's what I'm trying to say. The remainder of this year, leading into next year, we're going to see a lot of liquidity injections around the world. So really good. Now, tomorrow we have a big manufacturing data. Hopefully it doesn't come in really bad. Okay. That's going to be important. And also we have payroll numbers and, of course that's really important too. And unemployment rate, that's important too. So we got a few more economic data this week, as long as they don't come out to be horrible. If they come in line with expectations or just slightly lower, it's fine. But if they come out really horrible, then of course it's going to affect markets, right? But I guess we'll wait and see. Right now, it doesn't seem like it will be like that, but you know, we never know. We never know. We got some. Recently, we've been getting surprises, but in a good way, right? Beating expectations or in line with expectations. We haven't seen anything come out drastically off. So, not anticipating anything different this week. All right. Now, that's all the macro stuff. What about Bitcoin? What about crypto? What to expect in October? Obviously, I just got done saying liquidity injections all around from around the world. That will definitely have a big effect on Bitcoin and crypto. But here's the thing. Some of you guys, you know, a lot of you guys, not just some, a lot of you guys are wondering, well, what's going on with the alts, right? Some of the alts started coming up. Bitcoin has historically always led every single cycle, and it's still doing so, and it's doing quite well. But alts have been beaten for the last 6 months and started to come up, right? But still not that strong. And you know why? Because retail activity is still low. And here's the kicker. That is still a good thing. Because when you see retail activity really high, that's usually an indicator of a market top. So right now, we know that Bitcoin is being led by institutions, which is fine. It's very different this cycle. But alts are always led by retail. And right now, we're not seeing a whole lot of retail activity, which is a really good thing. That means you still have time to load up. You still have time to DCA. Because when retail comes in, that's when altcoin season starts. And you know, as we head into 2025 and later in the latter half of 2025, that's when things really get explosive. That's how it works every single time. Here, you look at BTC held by short-term holders, basically retail investors. You could see how, every peak is basically a peak for Bitcoin. It's been getting lower. But like right now, it's just outrageously low. So obviously, we're nowhere near peak, right? And here's another one, just total volume breakdown by size. Again, just measuring retail activity really, really low, not near the peak yet. So it's actually quite fascinating that retail activity right now is low, which we know because the alts are not exploding, but it's actually an indicator that we're nowhere near market top and things are going to get better. And as the market goes higher, we will see that. We'll see retail come back in, right? We saw that a little bit, just a little bit last week, but we saw a lot of it earlier this year in March and April. A lot of you guys remember that and how great it was. We will see a lot more of that. But right now, before retail comes in, we know institutions are here, right? Looking at ETFs, I didn't even pay attention to this, but this is staggering to me. Today, we don't have the official numbers. We have a little bit of outflow. We don't know what BlackRock's is. But I must have missed this. But on Friday, did you guys know that on Friday, we had close to $500 million worth of inflow? I don't know why I missed it. I didn't cover it. That's crazy. And on Thursday, we had 365 million. So basically on Thursday and Friday, we had close to $1 billion worth of inflow. That's just a little bit. That's just a little taste of what's to come. When we have true FOMO, we will have $1 billion days. We'll probably have $2 billion inflow days. I mean, that's crazy. I didn't even realize we got to $500 million on Friday already. That's massive. That's really, really massive, right? And we will see more days. And this will have effect on Bitcoin's price because more and more is being removed from circulation, right? So right now, retail interest might not be there, but institutional interest is definitely there, and they are loading up as much as they can. Look at this one. 61 new Bitcoin addresses holding between 1,000 and 10,000. These are definitely the big whales, right? These are the mega whales, the gigantic whales. And they're loading up. It's really that simple. They're loading up. And someone else that's a mega whale, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, a lot of people don't know they raised a lot of money. They bought a whole lot of Bitcoin, but they didn't use all of it. I guess Michael Saylor's trying to be smart this time. He still has more than $1 billion worth of cash, and he could still purchase Bitcoin with it. So he raised like $2 billion, and he only purchased $1 billion. So yeah, his next buy, his next purchase will push them above Grayscale. Grayscale has just been dumping and dumping and dumping. MicroStrategy does not care. Michael Saylor is going to continue to buy forever, right? And guys like Saylor have caused others to buy and buy and buy. It's kind of hard to see, but throughout 2020 and 2021, even down, up, right? Most of the buys have been going to MicroStrategy, but there are many others that have started the same route, have implemented a Bitcoin strategy, and they are loading up as well, right? So besides institutions, you have a lot of publicly traded companies that are also loading up, loading up, loading up, loading up. And according to this, in total, out of 4 years, 277,000 has been bought for a rough estimate price of $12.45 billion. Current price, $18.1 billion. So overall, $6 billion in profit. That's not bad. Not too shabby. And that will continue to go up and up and up and up. Exchange flows near yearly lows. Okay, that's awesome. Exchange reserves also near yearly lows and actually all-time lows. So that's awesome, right? A lot of good metrics out there. We know that the global money supply is going up. So if you lay it on top of each other, you lay Bitcoin's price on top of the money supply, you'll notice that they look very similar. They look very similar. But Bitcoin is definitely trailing right now. Bitcoin has not gone up parabolically yet. But hey, we're about to enter October. And this morning I showed you guys what happens in October. Bitcoin, every single time in 2020, when it seemed way, way, way worse, when it was just really dire, first week October just started going up. In 2017, same thing, right? It just happens. That's why it's called Uptober. Bitcoin averages a 22% gain in October, right? Will we see something similar? Quite possibly. And especially since we have the money supply going up, we have the capital injections or liquidity injections I've been talking about, growing fundamentals. We've got a lot of good things coming. So this is a major, this shows a major uptrend that's incoming, right? And here's something else that I used in my thumbnail, but this is pretty obvious. Just a fractal pattern of what happened before in the previous cycle, what's happening right now. Now, this is extremely bullish, predicting that Bitcoin will go to $450,000. It could happen. Maybe we're off. Maybe we're not. Hey, Plan B says we're going to 1 million, which I don't think is going to happen. But a lot of other people think 250,000, even like major CEOs. CEO of Standard Chartered thinks we're going to go to 250,000. Right? Larry Fink thinks we're going to go to 200-something thousand. I mean, these are major CEOs of major banks that are making these kind of predictions too. So who's to say we can't go to 450,000? Right? Maybe it happens this cycle. When the FOMO kicks in and the ETFs continue to soak up every single Bitcoin there is, who knows what's going to happen to the price. So that is also coming. Lastly, just a few other things. I noticed a lot of you guys are asking about SUI. SUI is doing very well right now. I noticed that SUI tops all chains in daily net inflows right now. even surpassing Base, Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, and others. Not sure why there's so much activity on Sui right now. Okay, but they are coming out in a big way. But it's not just them. A lot of alts have started moving. But I also saw this. Among cryptocurrencies with at least 2 billion in market cap, these are projects seeing the highest rises in whale activity compared to a week before. And that includes Injective, which is a great L1. You see Shiba and also Pepe, and then Ethnia, Doge. A lot of these are memes. Optimism, MakerDAO, I don't know, Wrap Bitcoin. So you Tether, you even see stable coins in here, but most of these are meme coins. With a few exceptions. All right, guys. That's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. Charles A says, just picked up my 992 GT3 RS. Congrats. That's a nice color. I mean, nice car and color. Does Peach. Let's go, George. October all the way. I'm looking forward to it. George, man, speaks hodl goodness. That's right. All right. The Fed will be forced to print to stem the bleeding. That's always the case. It never stops. RSQ8 or Eurus. If you can afford the Eurus, get the Eurus. Okay, it's not about value. If you want value, get the RSQ8. But people will get the Eurus is making a statement. And the statement is, I can afford a Eurus. That's really it. So if you want value, okay, get a RSQ8. But if you could afford it, then get a Eurus. Do you see BCH reaching all-time highs? Don't ask me about BCH. I am not a fan of it, so I cannot tell you. Any thoughts on possible supply chain issues affecting Bitcoin? What supply chain issues? I don't know which. Yeah, I don't know which supply chain issues you're talking about. Hadi asks, I know you don't like ADA, but can I still do all-time high? Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. What's your realistic price target for Phantom? At least back to its previous high. And they actually have been doing well, too. Up 7% today. All-time high, they were at like 330. So can they get back up there? Yeah. At the very least, they could get it back up there. And then plus they're rebranding to Sonic, and they're going to like upgrade a whole bunch of stuff. So, for a time, I actually got pretty bearish on Phantom because I thought they were going to not do well against the L2s. But surprisingly, they've done really well. The L2s have gotten, they start out strong, but the L2s have gotten pretty weak. And Phantom has continued to do well. So good for them. Shipping strike due tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not kept up. I have not kept up with that. And I don't see how port strikes have anything to do with Bitcoin. Unless a lot of port employees hold Bitcoin, then maybe. Where do you see ETH topping out? I don't know, maybe 8 to 10,000. Here's the only thing I'll say about port strike. Okay, first of all, I don't think a lot of port employees hold Bitcoin, but if it causes the market, the broader market, the U.S. market to tank, then yes, it's going to have an effect on Bitcoin. But if it does not, then no, it's not going to affect it. Have you tried driving Integra A-Spec? No, Integra just like, yeah. I should, but I haven't driven an Integra yet. I just feel like you should just get a Civic, you know. It's the same car. Will be realistic price target for Sol? $2,000. Will Jolamas, will Jupiter outperform Uniswap in a bull run? Yes, I believe so. Rob, why is everyone talking about top Q1 next year? Whatever happened to 16 months from the halving? No one is talking about Q1 top next year. I don't know who you're talking to or who you're listening to. Not one single person I have talked to or listened to have called a top in Q1 of next year. So I don't know who everyone is, Rob. Kenny's Only Penny. New member, welcome. 2,000 Sol is very realistic. It's very realistic. People don't believe it, but once Sol hits $2,000, I'm going to make a lot of posts and say I told you so, because it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen because it's realistically, it has the best shot at flipping Ethereum. Sun God says, hey, George, I'm ready in October. I guess you must be on the other side of the world. Congrats. Have you heard of Splinterlands? Yes. Heavily invested in that project last cycle. Do you think it could reach $1 or 50 cents a cycle? You know, like a lot of games have not done well, right? And Splinterlands is one of those like card games. I don't know if it could reach its previous high. Maybe when the bull run happens, maybe it will, because everything goes up. But games have not taken off yet. I hope they do. So it has a chance. Fire down below. Yeah. Near, I don't know. Near is doing very well, so I don't know how high they will go. Their previous high was like $20. That's 4x from here. So they'll probably beat that. I think it'll probably be like a little bit higher than that, maybe like 40 or $50. I think they could do a 10x from here pretty easily. I think that could happen. Brett, I'm not really kept up with Brett, but let's see. Brett is at 1 billion. I don't know. Brett, memes could do whatever. Memes could go up 10x, 20x. You know, you just never know. I say, like, if you want, you know, stay with some blue chip memes like Pepe. You know, Pepe could still do like a 20x even at this level. And you know, something like Bonk, which is also like a blue chip, and Whiff. You know, these are all like blue chips to me. Like they can still do like a 10, 15, 20x. Brett, I'm not so sure. You think games not getting hot bad for Avalanche? Yes. But I honestly, if I was giving a percentage in this cycle, I think it'd still be like a really high percentage for games to catch on fire. They always do. I mean, in a cycle, everything catches on fire. I think games will catch on fire. Maybe it just takes a little bit longer. But I think games will catch on fire. And when they do, it's going to help Avalanche tremendously. Nisus, one prediction. Never, Ahmad, never heard of it, so can't really talk about it. Kasdan says, imagine Bitcoin hits 1 million one day, we all be millionaires. Well, no, because people that don't have one coin won't be a millionaire. So I think it's still important. I mean, that's still a very good goal to have, to become a whole coiner. It's going to be really, really, really hard from here on out. As Bitcoin goes higher and surpasses 100,000, it's just really hard for people to achieve that. So it's still an amazing thing for people to strive for. And then after that, you strive for 2 or 3. You know, it's really, really difficult. But if you can DCA over time, you know, that's the easiest way to do it. You know, I'll do some, since so many people are asking about a supply chain strike thing, I'm going to do more research and cover it tomorrow. We'll see if it affects the U.S. market tomorrow, because that's the biggest thing, right? Right now, the U.S. market is not affected by it. But if the U.S. market turns red tomorrow because of it, then it's going to affect crypto. But right now, it's not. Asia is recovering. So right now it's looking good, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Have you seen Pesto, the new meme on Sol, based on a viral penguin created 2 days ago, could be the next moo and dang? No, I have not. I have not kept up with it. Honestly, I have not kept up with any new, hey, Karate Combat right there. Just for fun, I'll look at it. Pesto, it's already 11 million market cap. Well, I mean, it already collapsed. So, I don't know, 96% liquidity burn, but that means 4% is still being held. It's not a great chart. I'll say that. It's not a great chart. So it has to surpass this. So it has to break that, and maybe it has to break this for it to have a chance. If it just like dumps that back down here, then it's probably not going to recover. So minimum AVAX price to wait to average out. There's no right answer to that. There's no right answer to that. Will you ever go to visit Rand in South Africa? No. No, there's no good reason for that. So no. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's the start of October, or I should say Uptober. Let's see how the market reacts. Today we had a little bit of a downfall, a little bit of I guess a last day volatility for September, a goodbye, so to speak. Tomorrow is the start of a new month. We got a lot of great things. So let's see what happens. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early, same time as usual, 8:30 a.m. Take care.